What the heck did I just watch? Now, I made a video about the first episode of WandaVision because I was using ancient old standards where episode 1 was the pilot and sort of set the scenes for the show, when in all actuality, if the streaming thing is going to be releasing 2 episodes at once, they should really be watched together as a pilot. That's my bad. Now, because I'm old and I sort of assumed that the first episode of a show was the pilot and sort of set the stage, I made 2 separate videos for these 2, and my first video was very confused because it really felt like it was just a strange, not quite parody. Like, the first episode of this show felt almost like it was just trying to be one of these. And then the second episode of this show, probably still technically included in what we now would refer to as the pilot, becomes almost a parody of a sitcom. And we get to see like a silly intro video, like that whole opening scene, and we get to see like laughing at the 2 separate bed thing, but then we get to see some of the weirder elements added in as well, and we start to get a view of what the heck could be happening in WandaVision. And I feel like the juxtaposition of this being a parody of old sitcoms in the ways that it makes fun of old sitcoms, but it also alludes, like, uses the format in not just a mocking way, but also takes advantage of that format in some ways. It's a weird vibe that I still am not sure that it works. But then we also get to see elements of this becoming, okay, so I talked about in the first episode of the show, where there was this strange scene where the one guy was choking and then Wanda tells Vision to help the guy not choke. And he does. I thought that scene was executed weirdly because it almost felt like in the first episode that was just a scene specifically to try and make their relationship seem more normal. When this episode, it seems like maybe that wasn't the case, and it is some kind of weird simulation that Wanda and Vision are trapped in. And I kind of assumed, just based on the end of the first episode, that we were dealing with some kind of external force keeping Wanda trapped here. But based on what we're watching, it almost seems like Wanda is intentionally keeping herself and maybe Vision trapped in this utopian world. Like, is she hooked up to some kind of simulation machine, or is she using mind control of some sort to try to keep this weird it's not an idealized version. I don't know what's going on. And I also don't know if I like it or not, because some of the humor lands and some of the humor doesn't land, and it's a weird blending of the sitcom with the modern that I don't know how to feel. Most of the TV shows that exist on TV tell you how you're supposed to feel very strongly, and I don't know how I'm supposed to feel here. I'm sure that there are comic book nerds that can look at the symbols that we've seen so far and tell us exactly what we're dealing with, but I am fairly lost, especially with the weird vision that Wanda had before she sort of rewrote the history of the story, which also, the fact that she can rewrite it means I think that she is involved in this sort of illusion, but also, is she going to have a kid in the next episode? It's a weird show. And the difference in the serious elements and the corny elements and the parody elements are the thing that I'm having a hard time reconciling, because there are still elements of the classic shows that it's parodying in this parody, such as the entire magic show scene. Well, heck, the entire Vision plotline where he gets gummed up and then becomes drunk, basically. That does feel like something out of one of these strange, weird old shows. And at the same time, you have a lot of making fun of these old shows and including modern types of humor into this, especially with the one neighbor girl. I don't know what they're going for, and I still don't know how I feel about it. This episode, I'm not sure how much of the humor landed on me, except for maybe the magic show scene. As far as the weird otherworldly stuff interfering into this illusion or whatever is going on, the color effects, I think that's really cool and it looks really cool. And I don't know. It's the weird thing about this show is I'm curious the direction it's going to take. Where is it going to shift entirely from this parody of a sitcom thing into something else? Are we seeing a transition, or is it still going to maintain this weird, delicate balance? Because the weird, delicate balance is what's turning me off. I almost wish that it would just be a sitcom and try to be it, or just be a parody of a sitcom, or just be this is a Marvel Cinematic Universe show that's going to tie into everything that we already kind of see and know, but it's doing a weird blend, and I don't think it's succeeding at the blend. So I guess moving forward, my interest in the show is going to come down to what the heck they're actually going for as the season progresses. Also, I realized during this video that I had junk on my hat. I tried to clean that off. Hopefully you didn't notice. Assuming that they are just trying to make this the transition to a more normal style, whatever the MCU is, because pretty much every MCU movie at this point is almost a different genre, or at least a slightly different genre. We have to think about, is Wanda actually complicit in this thing that she's stuck in? Is Vision actually here, or is he a parody? Like, it's weird because their powers both exist as they do in the real world, and they also don't exist. That's another confusing part of this. But is Wanda actually complicit in it? To me, it feels like the evidence that we have indicates that she is. It also indicates that someone is trying to save her from this. Also, it does seem almost malevolent. I can't tell what's going on. But I can say, even though the humor elements of the show aren't working, and I don't think it's doing a very good blend of the three different mashups that feel separate to me that it's trying to do, the show is short enough and has a little enough commitment that I am curious to see what they're going to do with the color being added in, to see how the third episode looks, to probably get more of this, hopefully transition into a more consistent vibe that I think could work for the show. But honestly, I have no idea. Those are just my random thoughts. I watched the thing and then I wanted to talk to you guys. So what are your thoughts on the show so far? If you've watched both these episodes, do you think I'm completely off base? How do you think that the humor landed? Do you think that it actually did do a good job meshing it? Do you like the show? Are you curious to continue watching the show? Do you know what we're dealing with? Is this something that's been seen in the comic books before, or is this a completely sort of separate idea? I'm curious to all and every interpretation. If you're not the type of person that normally likes the Marvel shows, but you picked this up because of Disney Plus, what are your thoughts about what's going on? How did you feel about the elements and how they blended together or didn't? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more of these videos from me, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, that's another way to let me know. Just hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos from me, either like this or like my normal bookish discussions, you can hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified whenever I post a new video. If you want to discuss WandaVision with me more, please check out the link down below to my Discord channel, where we talk about all sorts of things. There's a great group of people over there, and I'd love to have you join us. But yeah, anyway, until next week when we watch another one of these, or until I upload another bookish discussion video, see ya.
Sleep, no one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired.